Hello, I'm Steph from idriveaclassic and we're back today with our second episode on the MGC Restoration.
Yes.
And my goodness, it's been a busy week. Although if you look at the shell, you're probably going to say to yourself, Steph, I think you and Kev have been watching too many episodes of Emmerdale. But here's the thing, we've both been really busy. And I think one of the things that I've gained from, or a bit of insight that I've got from watching other people's project builds, is I never fully understand people's rationale before they start building. I just feel like I stumble into the first episode, someone's doing something, and then everything just rolls on from there. Whereas we wanted to do it slightly different with you at home, and I hope you don't mind that this episode is going to be us talking through the build foundations, because when you think about when you plan your house, you have all your plans, your foundations and all the rest of it. Well, why should a car restoration be any different? So you and I have been kind of conversing about this all week, and we've also been on with a few different jobs, haven't we? Kev mostly, because I've been working on Rustival, which, by the way, if you're coming, let me know in the comment section below. You'll be there as well, won't you?
Yeah, I'll turn up.
But yeah, the build foundations. Now, one of the things that we wanted to do was to get some of the components sorted before we started building it up, to give us a really good idea of kind of the quality that we were working towards. And I guess the big thing that we both collectively worked on was getting this blooming chrome re-chromed, because it wasn't local, it was over 100 miles away. And Kev said to me, oh, you're going down to Coventry, this man's in Coventry. No, he wasn't, he was in Hinckley, which you told me it was in Coventry, and so I'd planned my day around nipping into somewhere in Coventry and ended up careering down. It was the first time I'd driven the marina since everything had gone back on the road, and I went all the way down to Hinckley because Kev had said to me, oh, there's a 12-week wait, oh God, we've got to get on with it. Man was done within a month. Oh God, get it out because it's definitely worth showing off.
Right, well basically, here it is, along with several other pieces of, oh yeah, grab hold of it, both ends. Right, there.
70s comedy.
Yeah, 70s comedy. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful.
But it's the fact that you were saying to me, and this is something that you probably can't appreciate in a video at home, is when you look down it, you can see that it's just faultless.
Yep.
Apart from the makeup that was on my hands, that is now transferred to the chrome. Sorry about that. But he's done such a great job of it. And you've had, I'm trying to remember what I took. So we took the bumpers, the overriders, the, this is really good as well, actually. I want to show people this at home.
The quarter light.
Yeah, the quarter light. And do you know what? It's little details like this, in my opinion, that take builds from really good to excellent. And I think you've really set the standard for yourself here, because the chroming on this is beautiful. But with chroming or re-chroming comes a big spend. So what did you spend on getting every single element of chrome re-chromed?
Well, it wasn't cheap. Now, chroming is not cheap. However, with this chap that did the chroming, he's called Restore My Chrome, and he's in Hinckley. He does the NEC.
Yeah. And
he's got a brilliant reputation in the in the restoration business. A lot of big players use him. So I've had cheap chrome and I've had expensive chrome. And in my mind, cheap chrome is completely a waste of money. This guy's did some chroming on my dad's Hillman 10 years ago, and it's still as good as the day he did it. And that car stayed in a garage. So basically, it's well and truly worth it, and he does triple plate as well.
So I think if you are looking to do something like a rebuild, the one thing, or restoration, the one thing that I would say is chrome is one of those elements that you shouldn't really skip on, because people's eyes are drawn to it, and if it looks naff, people then just discount the whole car, and it's so unfair if you spent a long time on your build. You've also had this done this week.
Yep.
Your powder coating.
Yes, powder coating. Done. I've had quite a lot of bits and pieces done powder coating wise over the years, because to be honest, the finish is absolutely excellent. This is another firm that I've used quite a bit over the years. They're based in Slough near Huddersfield, and they are called Crimble Powder Coaters. They're on Facebook. Again, I'm not having a kickback from them, but I use them because it's good. It's very, very good service.
And so what have you paid to have all your elements powder coated?
I think we're up to about 140 quid or something.
Okay, so all in, you've spent just over £1,000 having your chrome done and this as well, which isn't actually that bad in the grand scheme of things.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, to be honest, a decent tin of Hammerite is the best part of 20 quid.
Yeah.
And then there's all the effort in rubbing it down and stuff. This firm, they shot blast things and properly, powder coat it. When eventually what we're going to do is I'm going to bring the car into the middle of the garage, and then when it's here, when I finally get round to doing the bodywork, I'm going to take the wire wheels off, and they're going to be I'm going to have those powder coated as well. Yeah. 5 wire wheels.
I'm not surprised. He does a really good job, and it's worth saying as well that every time we do something like a job on this or we spend on parts, we're going to tell you what we're spending and the supplies that we're using and what we think of the work. And all the supplies that we use, unless we say otherwise, we're not getting any discount. Right, no. We're not getting any sort of kickback if you use them. We're just two genuine people doing it and telling you who we use, because I always found in the early days that it was really difficult to get a good recommendation and somebody that you could rely on. And so that's a really important part of this restoration for me, is that we share who we use.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we want to keep them in the business. We want to keep them going.
I mean, I think, to be honest, and another good thing about these, I didn't tell you this. Another good thing about these powder coating people is they're actually girls. They're young girls.
Girls?
Ladies.
Thank you.
Now, what's wrong with girls?
Oh, girls in for... Oh, we'll get into this another day.
Listen,
got my raging feminist hat on.
Oh, for goodness, here we go again. what I'm trying to say is these are... I mean, they're only in the 20s and 30s. I think the lady in her 30s is the daughter of one of the original owners, because I used them in the 80s when it was her dad that were doing it, or maybe even granddad might have been. Yeah. But it's great to see. But I don't care. The girls to me, they're very attractive girls as well. But it's nice to see. It's nice to see them doing something in a man's world and doing it better than a man. That's all I'm saying. I'm not. I'm girl power.
But no, that's who we use. Yes. Anyway, apologies if people sometimes find us a bit un-PC, because we are terrible when we're off camera. Well, we are bad.
Yeah, but I haven't said anything bad about it.
Not today, no. But in fact, when we talk about ridiculous things that we were doing, when we were shooting the cover image for this video earlier, Kev was climbing out of the car. Thank God you weren't swearing under your breath like when you're trying to find the keys for something earlier.
Yeah, I lost the keys for the car, which had the bump. Anyway, I found it eventually.
Anyway, so you've done some less costly activities this week, including the gearbox and the engine. Yes. So what have you been doing on the gearbox?
Right, okay, well the gearbox, this is an overdrive gearbox. And what I've been doing, as I said on the first video, the gearbox was in the driver's footwell. It wasn't attached to the car. So what I've been doing today is just basically checking it over. I fitted some new gearbox mounters, courtesy of the MG Owners Club, spares department, and I've checked these. These are the switches for both the overdrive and the reversing lights. So basically what I've done, let's take that off there because there's no need for that to be on anymore. There we go, off it goes. Right, good. So what I've done with the voltmeter, the first thing I've done with the wiring loom is I've checked for continuity. That's continuity is basically whether any wires are broken. So what you do is you set this up onto continuity, and you put one end on one side and then another one on the corresponding colour, and you watch. Can you see the voltmeter go up there? That's basically saying that there's continuity between the two with the wires. So I've checked all the wires for continuity. And then I've also checked the switch. So basically that's the reversing light switch, and this is the overdrive switch. The overdrive works in third and top gear. Now, so basically what I've done is I put a 12-volt supply on this end here, and the overdrive wiring is I'm trying to remember which one's which now. I think it's that one. Yes, it's that one, because there's one that's very, very difficult to get hold of. So that's the overdrive inhibitor. And what the inhibitor does is it knocks the overdrive out when the gear lever is moved. So basically, that's down to the overdrive. That's down to the overdrive solenoid. So what I've done is I put a 12-volt supply at this end here, down to the switch, to check that there was a switch. I've checked with the voltmeter, or I actually used the circuit tester on this one, because I can't always see that thing with the eyes and whatever. And then I just put a screwdriver in there, and I put the gearbox into third, and then into top. And I checked that there was a live wire at the other end of the switch. That means that switch is working perfectly. So basically, put it into third, the overdrive engages, take it out to third, the overdrive disengages via this switch. And there's no way that the overdrive works in reverse, because if it works in reverse, it'll beggar up the overdrive, because the overdrive works the wrong way. So basically, that's what I've been doing. So we've checked all this out. Everything seems to be okay. We've put some oil in it, as you can see there. The oil is 2050, so that's all brand new, which you can see. Can you see how clean that is? Little drop. We've put some new courtesy of the Owners Club Spares department, some new bolts in the back of here where the prop shaft goes on, with locking nuts, which is 3/8 UNF. So we've done all that, and then what I have done as well, because when the car came, it came with a brand new clutch. So that's the brand new clutch, never been used. You see the writing on there. I've checked to see that slides onto the splines here, as it should do. As you can see, in there, I put a little bit of high melting point grease in there, like that. So we now know that clutch is ready to go. I've checked the clutch fork to see that the clutch fork is all right. The release bearing under here, which is a carbon thrust thingamabob. I'll just stick it over. That's a carbon thrust, and that's constantly engaged onto the pressure plate, which is here. So I've checked everything's right there. This is brand new. It's never been fitted to the car, so we know that that's all right. Somebody did say, and I have never heard this in all the years that I've done this. In fact, I would appreciate a bit of feedback on that. Some old mechanic said you were supposed to oil this carbon thrust bearing when it goes into there. Now, I always thought that carbon's self-lubricating, but I don't know. I've never done it, and I never will do it, but I just wondered if somebody's ever done that. I mean, I wouldn't dream of doing it myself, because oil's going to go onto there and into the clutch and they get it all up. So that's the gearbox. So we're all up and running with that. So that's basically what I've been doing today. That's today's excitement.
Now, we talked a little bit about building those good foundations. We've got the chrome, we've got the powder coating, you've done all the checks on that gearbox, and you've also painted the engine this week, so you've been busy. You've done a lot.
I have, yes.
So I guess we've built those initial foundations. We know that the shell is good, so it's not like we're having to do miracles like we had to do with the Marina. So what do we do next?
Right. This is what we do.
Oh, is it?
I hope you're feeling strong. Because Saturday,
right, when I thought I had a day off, yeah.
No, you haven't. That great big lump of iron there, that sort of 3/4 of a ton of motor is going in this car along with the gearbox.
That feels really premature. So first of all, have you prepped the engine bay?
The engine.
I'm not trying to tell you how to do it. I'm asking.
the engine bay is more or less prepped. There's a little bit of detailed work that I can do, but I can do it with the engine in place. But there's a reason why I'm doing it this way.
Because it feels really premature. Because I know that I'm not the expert here, which is why I'm asking you. Because I bet there's going to be other people asking this. It feels like we're way ahead of ourselves here because we're at a shell stage. So why on earth are we putting the engine and gearbox in?
Right, good question.
Go
the
on.
reason why we're putting the engine and the gearbox in together, we're not going to try and start it or anything like that. The reason why we're doing it is because that engine and that gearbox, between the two of those items, that's well over half a ton.
Oh, good. I'm going to feel great for Sunday then.
You are.
Yeah.
just wear your steel toe cap boots. Don't drop it on your foot. But the reason why I'm doing it is, and this is all part of the shell preparation, because if you can imagine, this is a bare shell as it is now with wheels and dashboards and what have you on it.
Yeah.
It's a good shell, but we've got no stress on this shell whatsoever.
No, I appreciate that.
So basically, you put the engine and gearbox into the car, and then we know exactly the levels that we're working on, because I have seen MGCs where that engine's gone in and it's actually altered all the door gaps.
Oh, really?
It's actually physically twisted the shell.
Right. So okay, that makes sense.
So basically, we put the engine and gearbox in, and then we bring the car over into the middle of the garage so I can crack on with the shell. But we also jack up the front cross member.
Okay.
And we also put axle stands on the chassis legs, both as close to the engine weight, if you like, as possible. And that's to stop the shell from twisting.
Really? What? Because it's so heavy.
That engine is heavy.
So is that how they fitted it in the factory? What did they?
I don't know. I don't know, but
you always act like you're old enough to have personally been there. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a bit older. It's 1 year older than me. Is this?
Oh.
Yeah, just. So that's why I'm doing it now. Again, as I always say, you know, anybody has got any suggestions on how I'm doing this car, put them in the comments, because I'm very interested as to how other people do things, because as I said before, nobody's an expert.
No.
I mean, you know, I've done it a long time, but I could have been doing it wrong for a long time.
Although I always ring you up like you're the expert. I'm like, oh my God, help.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He is quite good.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm not that good.
So I guess we're talking about good foundations, and that is part of a good foundation, is to get that fundamental in and right before we start. So very quickly, in 30 seconds, sum up for me. We get the engine and gearbox in, and then what are we going to spend the rest of February working on? What are we going to be doing?
Sorting the bodywork out, setting up the door gaps, because the door gaps,
Will you show us how to do it?
Well, yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. But what the previous guy, or the previous guy, because we don't know the history of the car, set the door gaps up too tight. Now I'm not a great fan of too tight door gaps, because when things move, you've got to be very, very careful. So I like a little bit of movement. But the first thing that I'll be setting the door gaps up to when I start doing the car properly, we'll get round to it, is I'll be setting the gaps up from the back forwards. Now you might think, why are you doing that, you half-wit? Which you could have a valid point, really. But basically, that's welded. The front wing isn't, because the front wing's a bolt-on.
Oh,
so
it's
basically,
a bit more giving it.
So, well, I can dress this front wing further forward.
Okay.
If it's tight there. So basically, that I'm hoping that it's had lower half rear wings on it, and the welding, to be fair, is very good. I'm just hoping that I might have to cut this all the way down and dress it further back, because I've got to get the gap right. I'm a bit funny about my door gaps. I like my door gaps nice, because when you look down the car, if it doesn't look right when you look down the side of it, you know the car is not right. And if necessary, with this car,
it'll spoil the whole car.
well, if I can't set the door gaps up, I'll pull the lower half rear wings off it and do them again.
Right, I'm off home. I'll see you Saturday. And
Right.
everybody at home, I guess I'll see you next time. Take care. Goodbye.
See you. Bye.